actual life, how you say, example of these type of dynamics. So Ash was brave enough. I hit her like an hour ago. She said, "I got you." You know what I'm saying? Even though she was in mid work and all that. So Ash, welcome to the show, man. This might be risky.
Yeah.
Damn. So the tagline, Ash, you say, "Can you sleep white and talk black?" When you hear that tagline, what pops in your head?
I don't know.
So let's say your man's right. He on some blackity black shit. You know, black power this, black power that. Da-da. But every time y'all go to sleep at night, he's sleeping. You and y'all two sleeping together.
Right.
Do you think it take away from his credibility?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I mean, it doesn't change just because we're laying in bed together. All of what he believes and what he stands for.
Okay, so if he's saying, so what's the most important construct in a person's life? Like, would you, if I said marriage, the person that you tie all your resources, all your kids to, is that the most important construct in a person's life?
I think if it's really what you prioritize. If that's what you prioritize, then yeah. But also, so
Family and resources, as family and resources,
family and resources.
Mm-hmm.
If you sleep white, that doesn't mean that you have to be anti-black.
No, I ain't saying that. But can you be pro-black though?
Yeah.
But Ash, take this walk with me. His family and his resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he outsourced those two things. So then what else is he pro-black about? Nigga just talking?
No, I feel like just because he outsourced, it doesn't change the fact that his family, his resources, I mean, I'm one person.
Uh-huh.
Like, we have children and they're still black. Just because they have a little white in them doesn't mean they're not black anymore. Is it?
Okay. I'm just asking.
No, I'm like, it's like, do people want either it's one or the other?
Well, so you saying that his family, his resources, he tied those things outside of his race. And I guess I wonder what would be more important in those two things that he could say, but I kept these within the race, and therefore I'm still for my people overwhelmingly. You see why I'm confused? I'm confounded. Like, what's the balance, I guess?
I feel like, I mean, he outsourced future family. Like, he still has his parents, his siblings, his cousins, nieces, nephews, and also, what's to say that our kids, just because they're outsourced and partially white, what if they grow up and they decide to have black partners, and then like it's not like it's just gonna be outsourced forever for all future generations.
Got you. And so you call him your partner?
No, I'm just saying in general, a partner.
No, I'm saying, are you guys partners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Partners. We're not married, so I can't call him my husband.
All right. So, okay. All right. I see what you're saying. Now, you mentioned like his family and his cousin. Everybody still fuck with him?
As far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Why? Do you know something different?
I ain't saying nothing.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out.
So, Ash, just to clear, so a couple people asked, wait, is Ash white? Are you white, Ash?
Yes.
Okay. All right, yeah, she white. All right, cool.
I mean, I'm Italian if you want to get into it, but white, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Ash, when you look at this, right, and you hear the RG3 thing and the Ryan Clark, right?
Yep. So this is new to me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to give you like a,
Okay.
So Ryan Clark, right? When RG3 comes out and he's speaking what he's speaking, the one thing that he said was, uh, the black girl hates the white girl
Mhm.
outside of basketball,
Okay.
right? He's like, her hate for her is beyond basketball.
And the person that's saying this
Is black,
the black person with the black wife or
white
the
wife.
okay.
Yeah. Now he's the black guy, the type that you don't like. Like he don't get edge ups. He you know what I'm saying? He has that
Right.
more of a fit, like he almost assimilate to white culture, like just his dialogue, how he speak. He been dating white women since time immemorial.
Okay.
He had his first wife was white, his second wife is white, essentially. Now, why he's making this claim, his white wife is sitting behind him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like the imagery, and he's a super
He's setting the
intelligent.
scene.
You see, right? So it seems
Okay.
intentional,
Yeah.
right? And I think he's too smart to know that people weren't going to already insert the racial component that's already there in the first place amongst these two girls.
Right.
So you're just seeing that. So now the black man with the black wife is saying that, he's almost a divester. So a divester will date outside their race. Tell him don't talk. Yo. So so date outside their race and then disparage the women in their race.
Okay.
He's kind of calling him that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now the one who's accusing this dude of being a divester, his first baby mom's is white. And he's always pretty strong on these topics in terms of being pro-black.
Right.
One, do you agree that that's purposeful? Like him, so the guy who has the white wife putting her in the background, saying how much he hates.
I think
You
it's
think he's doing that on purpose?
intentional, probably.
Think so?
It could be. I
What
mean,
you think though? Majority know.
I think if he wanted her not to be in it, she
Mhm.
wouldn't be in it. If he wanted her not to be seen, she wouldn't have been seen.
Yeah. So you think the intent is there?
Yeah.
Do you think that the other guy has a level of like guilt? Do you think that because his daughter having a white mom, we kind of just got exposed to that?
So it wasn't like public knowledge beforehand.
It may have slightly, but I didn't know that.
Okay.
I would say that. And how he talks, you wouldn't assume that either. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what do you think about this overall dynamic? About the guy who has the white wife and the guy who has the black wife, but his first daughter is by a white woman? What you think about all that?
In terms of what they're both saying
Like, yeah, their agendas.
about the
So
situation.
he calling him a clown because he's like, he's trying to disparage black women because of how he's trying to put his wife in there, and he's always saying, my tall glass of milk, I'm the milkman, milk this, milk that. You know what I'm saying? What you think?
I think the guy that has the black wife but has the first child with the white mom,
Yeah.
I think maybe he was not trying to have that exposed so much, and what he says and his beliefs and about keeping things whatever within a black family, he probably does mean it, but he probably didn't think that it was going to come out in this situation of
Is there any doubt that comes in your head when you know that he has a baby by a white woman?
doubt of what?
Like his beliefs?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I feel like he could still believe everything, and maybe he doesn't even, it's hard because obviously he had to go through whatever he did with the white woman to have the child.
He clapped
But
them cheeks.
yeah. Who knows? I mean, was it also like a long-term relationship? A wife? Was it a one-night stand? Who really knows? Because I think that can come into play of, I wouldn't doubt his beliefs if, he was drunk and he got with this girl for a night and because he could, or she engaged, whatever. But if it was like a long relationship and stuff, I feel like maybe there's some digging into it. Like,
so if he just saucy, he clapped cheeks, got the baby, that don't talk to his belief system,
right?
But if he was on some Huggy Bear shit with a,
then I could see where it'd be a little hypocritical if he's so against, or not even maybe against, but like attacking or verbally, going at this other guy for being with his white wife and stuff. Then I would definitely side eye a little bit.
Okay. And then the one about the other guy, just that has the white wife, kind of putting the aesthetic out there. Do you think that he was intentional about that? Do you think that his commentary is against black women? Because he was saying, "Hey, I'm assessing the game," But then his comments about how much the black girl hates the white girl were kind of outside of the game, because he said he just doesn't hate her basketball wise. She really hates her.
Did he say that she hates her like because she's white, or like just that she hates her outside of the game?
Yeah, so he didn't say it emphatically, but I think people are looking at his lifestyle, who he's married to, all the milk stuff on Twitter, and then you couple that with the optics of having her in the background while he's making his commentary. What's your take on that?
I feel like maybe he feels the need to try and, I don't even know obviously his wife probably knows and sees all the backlash he gets. So maybe he feels like as the husband, he needs to try and like double down. So maybe it could be like he's trying to show extra support or extra like have her included, or I'm trying to put my thoughts together. Because maybe I need to just like figure out what I'm trying to say exactly.
Do you want to see the clip?
That would probably be helpful because
let me see if I can let me get the clip. Because my video, I think the most of the clip is there. So let me see. So I'll show you the clip when he's kind of talking, at least the part that I covered.
Okay.
And it's like he covered it for like 25 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna watch the whole thing. All right. So let me show you this. Piece of it has nothing to do with basketball, and he makes it clear in the tweet that he put out himself. Take a look.
We call it out. Angel Reese flopped on that play. But let's go ahead and talk about a tweet that I put out that went absolutely nuclear. So after watching the play, I tweeted out, after watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. The reason I said that is because when somebody that you don't like says something to you, you automatically always take it to the most extreme. You always automatically say, oh, they need to harm me with that statement. But if your friend or somebody you're cool with made that very same statement, none of us would be so quick to run to judgment to say, oh, that was negative.
When I listen to that, so that's the clip, right? Let me show you. So here's some of his tweets right here. So it's kind of, I don't know why it's not letting me make the screen keep flashing for you, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So here's like a bunch of tweets that he had, like in regards to his wife. Let me see if I read them out. But let me see. The divester is different from the reason why he, as the white woman he's with, and that he chose being called because so the allegation alleges that RG3 is a divester, right? So these are the tweets I was telling you about. So he's like, tall glass of milk, Super Saiyan milkman. That's what he called himself.
He called himself that?
A Super Saiyan milkman, yes. You know, like he just it didn't even last when
He is sounding very much not pro black, or maybe just too much pro white if he's saying that about himself.
Brother.
too much pro white, the black dude. So the other dude made a slight allegation of he has some complexes regarding himself and his blackness.
Mm-hmm.
When you see him calling himself milkman, you heard what he said, you saw the aesthetic. Like I said, it wasn't crazy overall,
Right.
you know. But like he's saying, so like one of them says, doctors say the breast milk is the best milk, and he like uses milk all the time. You see,
Yeah.
so I don't know what you think. So the allegation is, you know, he feel a way about himself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why he kind of touts this. When you see the milk stuff and you saw and I know you have limited scope. What's your take on it?
I think he definitely like has his own like, it seems like he just is too, I don't know if he's, like I said, too pro white, but like he doesn't seem like he kind of, like you said, he like has the more white aesthetic of like the way he thinks and the way he, I guess, acts or looks or talks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he completely maybe lost touch with his roots somewhere along the line. And then proclaiming about all this milkman stuff, like, I mean, obviously you want to be proud of who you're with, no matter who it is, but like it's a little like distasteful.
Can
Like,
can son call you? Can he call himself a milkman?
Chuck,
Yeah.
I don't think he would ever in a million years ever call himself the milkman.
So if people allege self-hate against him, what would you say to that? Would you think they off base?
No, I don't think they would. I don't think it would be off base
So
because it seems like he's trying to stray from who he is, or at least has strayed.
And what do you think he is? What do you think that entails?
Of
Like
what?
who he is? Like what do you think he's missing? What do you think he strayed from?
It just kind of seems like he strayed from having like the groundedness of like I said, his roots, like where his family, like obviously his family's black, like this new wife, and I guess maybe his past life, I don't know, like maybe he's lost touch or connection, and he's like very immersed into like her side of things. It just seems, and it seems like he probably doesn't care either. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't really see a lot of him, right? And so just to be fair, but when I see a clip of him, he's usually doing like some type of TikTok dance, you know, whatever those challenges are.
right.
And it's usually her family. When I saw, right, I could be missing.
Her
I don't like
family.
follow him. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I could be being how you say? I've only seen the clips I've seen, and it's been with her family.
Right.
You know, to your point. And again, it's not. I don't watch his channel, so I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
But to your point, that's what I have seen.
Yeah.
What?
And it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, based on his disposition.
Yeah.
What is it like being in a interracial relationship? How
Like,
is it? Is it tougher? What's the pros and cons? Do people be yelling "get out" and shit to him?
if people, I mean, nobody says it in front of me if people are telling him to get out. But I do know, like, obviously it's harder because there are people, and not necessarily people that I know personally, but people you see everywhere, all over the internet, everywhere, who are very like against interracial relationships. And then on both sides, um for me personally, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, I've dated multiple races, so it's not like it's something where I'm like, I only want to date one race. It's just who the person is as a person for me. But I do know probably on Chuck's side, it probably is harder because I feel like there's a lot more history for people to side eye that aspect of like him choosing. But again, I
His family, is his family racist?
is his family racist?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I am treated like family with his family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he would say the same, that my family treats him like family.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be naive or unaware of stuff in our personal, like, close circle of like
Yeah.
whatever, but I'm sure there are people out there maybe that might see us and side eye it or disapprove.
But you don't have any like direct experience with somebody saying nothing or doing anything negative?
No, I don't.
Okay. Does the Hennessy joke mean anything to you?
What Hennessy joke?
Okay. Well, I gotta see if he there. If he ain't there, then no.
No, he's not. He went to go pick up the baby.
Okay. He just said that y'all were somewhere and he mentioned being thirsty and Hennessy was mentioned for
Oh,
him to consume.
yeah. But you know what? Because I know that joke or that remark. The person that did that, they drink Henny. So I don't think it was like directed in that way, which I'm sure he could have taken it in that way, but on the other end of it, I think it was innocent because that used to be consumed a lot on our end, and on that person's end,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a drink of choice. There was like two things. So I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, may
What you think though? You think the big black guys go to look for something to drink, and if somebody asks him he wants some Hennessy, what do you
that definitely does look bad.
so
But
what's
just knowing knowing like the person that said it, I don't think there was anything like intentional like that. But also not knowing, being newer to like that dynamic, I
the
could definitely
dynamic?
understand where he'd be like, "What?"
Mm-hmm. The dynamics are so interesting, right? Like, how do you guys navigate those nuances?
Right.
Even like I guess like more minimal things or less serious, like
Mm-hmm.
food consumption. You know, um, it's just like, how do you guys navigate those dynamics? So you're saying you haven't experienced that much from the outside world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could just be like the demographic.
Right.
But like, what about other things that you guys have to navigate that are interesting? Just because we do have the cultures are a tad bit different.
Yeah. You mean when you say like food and stuff, you just mean like
Yeah,
what we
like
eat?
so. Yeah, like the eating. Like he's telling me like, like steak, like medium is probably as rare as it's gonna get. You know,
Yeah.
it's probably more like medium well. I ain't never seen a steak not well done until I started going to high end like restaurants.
Are you is it because a lot of white people like steak medium rare?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people. I've always eaten my steak well done. So actually, I was relieved when I found out he eats his steak well done because I can't do it. So it's really, I mean, there's certain things like that, I'm sure, like the way we like things cooked differently. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I'm the one of the two of us that cook everything. Um,
Mhm.
so for the most part, it's all good, but he will let me know if
Mhm.
there's something that he likes a different way or like seasoned a different way or made like cooked a different way.
Mhm.
And like
Mhm.
I just am like, okay, and then I'll do that like that the next time.
Yeah, I got you. How about
Yeah.
the kids? Is there any dynamics that are different, like with the kids?
In like raising the kids?
Yeah, raising them, anything you saw with the kids, different nuances, because we had this conversation, often about like the dynamics, and these are
Yeah.
more like just functional everyday things. Do you see any differences that maybe make things a little bit more difficult?
I don't think so. I feel
Mm,
like we're kind of on the same page
mm.
um when it comes to the kids.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. You got a couple super chats here. Let me see. Hold on. So somebody asked a question. All right, let me just read them. Mike Brown with the 2000 says Kool-Aid in a water dispenser is yo, why?
That was his idea.
Yo, I ain't even peeped that shit. It's blackety black. Yo, that's that. Yo, y'all need to grow up.
That wasn't me. Your brother needs to grow up.
Oh my god, son. AFR with the $5 says RG3 is smart and God top tier. Milk the Pookie Simps mad as fuck. Mm, mm, mm. Granny with the $5 says HAMP Kool-Aid in a water machine. What the fuck?
You know what? It was
Yo,
either this as the background or our Christmas tree that's still up in the background.
you had to pick one, huh?
Yeah.
Ezekiel Ben Israel with the $2 says hit the like button, please. Just Gems with the $5 says would that make you feel good when he speaks that way? Does she want him to do that to prove his love to her? Would you feel he loves you more? So like the whole milks thing. How would
Right.
you feel about that?
I mean, I think in the actual like specifically like calling himself the milkman and whatever,
Mhm.
that would just kind of creep me out. Like that's weird. Like you
Mhm.
can show me you love me in a different way.
Mhm.
Like maybe I don't know. I just feel like, when people overcompensate. So maybe he has his own guilt or his own like
Yeah.
self-doubt. So maybe he's overcompensating.
So you hear it that way, right? Like you're
It could
doing
be
too much for what reason?
right.
Mm.
Unless he really is that way, then he's just very like a
So the
little
guy
bit.
Ryan Clark said he was corny, right? That's
Yeah, that
yeah.
that would be it. It would either be corny or overcompensating.
Indeed. Serving a Yah with the 10 ounces. Shalom. Shalom. We drink chocolate milk over here. Just Gems with the $2 says, do you feel having black child makes white people upset? You want to answer this?
I mean, I hope not. But there's a lot of racist white people, so maybe.
Have you ever had to deal with any commentary?
No, honestly, not to mine and Chuck's horn, but most people when they see my child meet with me, whatever, and obviously like my children look like they are mixed, they always compliment them. So hopefully it's not backhanded, but
Gotcha.
so no personal experience with that.
Just Gems with her. Do your kids like chicken or watermelon?
I mean, they like chicken. Um, actually, our son doesn't really care for watermelon that much. He's still like, figuring out textures of foods and stuff. Little sister, she'll eat anything, so she probably does like watermelon.
Damn. Those be the questions, but you haven't faced those type of questions.
Right.
It's fantastic with the $5 says Kool-Aid dispenser and the fire alarm beeping in the back.
I wish Chuck was here so he could be the receiver of all this. 'Cause it was his idea. I just went with it.
I'm calling the FBI or your people. Don't do it, Mr. Fantastic. Damn, yo, watermelon and chicken. It's like we put our own selves in a box. No, it's just interesting, man. In terms of those dynamics. And I think where people live and what they're subjected to certainly matters,
Right.
And so, we talked about, just through the dynamics of you guys in and out the house, dating and etc. You haven't found any issue with that, like on his face.
Correct. I mean, we
And
also don't live in an area that's like predominantly just like white or black. Like,
mhm.
and I grew up the town or two over, the same dynamic. Like if I lived in Guilford or Clinton or somewhere like growing up and it was all white people, then that
Yeah.
would be, I'm sure I'd have
Yeah.
different experiences.
Yeah, and I think the demographic definitely allows it to be more conducive to the interracial relationship and couple, you know.
Yeah.
But just to reiterate, you know, I ain't gonna keep you up here forever because we kind of went through it, you know, for the most part. You know, when we look at can you sleep white and talk black? Salute to Miss Fantastic, by the way. And thank you for sending everybody over, Mr. Fantastic. Appreciate you. You know, can you sleep white and talk black? With one of the sentiments is, you know, because marriage, dating, relationship, kids are really the crux of what a lot of people got going on, you know, who they married to and who they have kids with, you know, has a lot of defining properties, you know.
Right.
And so Robert Smith, I don't know if you ever heard of Robert Smith, but he's a black billionaire. You know, he paid for 20, I think it was a 20 or 30 tuitions for a bunch of people that went to Morehouse as an example, you know.
Oh.
And his wife is white, you know. So it's kind of looked at like, well, can you be pro-black? You know, is it in action or is it who you tether yourself to in the most important constructs? You know, and so that's a conversation that we've had a few different times, which is why we kind of, you know, framed this conversation today as such. You know, in the
Right.
racial dynamics. Do you think that race is still an issue in our country?
Yeah.
Yeah. In what ways would you say?
Well, I just think there's still a lot of racist people.
Yeah.
Like personally, again, I don't come across that every day, but social media and the internet shows you everything. Nobody can hide anymore behind anything because there's phones, cameras, everything. And it's like every other day you go online and there's something racist going on.
Mhm.
So I do think it's a problem still.
Do you think that black people are still oppressed just based on what you know, what you see? Or do you think
Yeah,
that things have, yeah?
I think so.
In what ways would you say? And not just any, you know, whatever you can think of. Like what
I
ways?
just think like people have stereotypes and like preconceived notions. Like when if they come across somebody who's black versus white, like it's the typical like if someone's walking down the street and they might yell to the top of their lungs that they're not a racist being, they love everybody, but their first instinct when they're walking down the street like and passing someone who's black is to be on guard for anything like, oh, like, you know, like I'm thinking of like ladies like clutch a wallet or something. Like I feel like that
Okay.
is something that peop-
Have you witnessed that?
I haven't witnessed it myself.
Is that just a stereotype?
I think I've seen like online like videos like that where like
Hmm.
people like record and it'll be like, oh, you thought whatever. Or, like there was like one that I saw online that a guy was going into a building or something and it was like he got stopped for security, but he lives there. But
Mhm.
then somebody who was white and doesn't live there just like went right through. And it's like, why do you always think like just because it's like a race issue, like just because they're black, did you stop them? And
Mhm.
like, you know, stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, 100%. Okay. And when you think about that, right? Because I know you saw you know you said it online, and I understand that. When you're looking at like your husband or your son, like, do you worry about those type of things for them?
I do. There's been a few times in the past where like he might got like have gotten pulled over
Mm-hmm.
in my car because my car's not registered. And he's like he'll say he got pulled over by the police or something. And I just like my initial thing is like my heart stops for a second and I'm just
Mm.
like hopefully like things are fine or like I've called him before when he's like drive or if he got stopped by the police and he tells me like I'll call him because I want to be on the line. Like and that's
Mm.
something that obviously the future could either get better or it could get worse.
Yeah.
So it's scary to like think about like my children being mistreated or like stereotyped or whatever just because they're black.
Hmm. Okay.
Which is
Okay.
where I think it's important that their dad, just because he sleeps white, he can instill his values and everything from growing up and being like the pro-black that he still is, just because I'm white, into them, because I don't want them to lose that.
Got you. Okay, I understand that. And ask, because I just don't want them to think you know what I'm saying? You pregnant, right?
Yeah, I'm doing
I,
2 weeks.
I
I'm
ain't want
not
them to
just
think you
fat.
was. I ain't want them to think you was just a fat ass sitting up here and shit.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
I'm about to give birth any day. Actually, it could happen tomorrow. I don't know.
Damn. Son,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely something, that's interesting. And very rarely do we have people up here that can kind of speak to that side. It's a whole lot of speculation.
Right.
But that concern, just I know being tied to that man is real, even if you never witnessed it. But that's
Yeah.
one of the conversation that we often have is like people will say racism, right? And then another brother will say, tell me a time in which you experienced racism, right?
Yeah.
And then people can't articulate a time, right? We just did that maybe like 3 weeks ago. And then
Yeah.
it's like, see, you can't even tell me a time,
And that's their argument for that racism isn't alive still.
Yeah. Like show me where you experienced it. Or at the very least, they'll acknowledge racism exists, but they're saying it's not enough to stop you from getting ahead.
That's crazy.
Why so
I
crazy?
feel like, well, I think the people that argue that argument, they're like very ignorant, because again, something doesn't have to happen to every single person for it to not be there and a real issue. Like, just because not every single black person has experienced racism yet in their life, because they don't know it could still happen, doesn't mean it's not a big problem. Because again, you see so much racist stuff happening through the internet, through the TV, through social media. Like, I feel like I see it more now than I did growing up, but it's probably just because it's recorded more, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, see, that's real. And I think that's a great point. Like, does it have to happen to every black person for it to be real?
Mm-mm.
I remember, what you made me think of a thing at the baseball game, right? I forget what game it was. I think it might have been Boston. Somebody was reaching for the ball or cheering and fell over the railing.
Mm.
Just one person. Well, not just. I think the person might have died or almost.
This was
Um,
recent?
no, this is a while ago.
Oh,
So now when you go to parks, right after that happened, every single park put up a net
yeah,
so that if people fall, it can like catch them.
right,
Because you only needed one person to fall over.
right,
Right. And to your point, like how many people need to be subject to a negative thing for us to discount it or, account for it,
right.
you know?
It's pretty much how many times is something going to happen for there to be change?
Yeah.
And not even so, this people that argue that like the racial side of that is, if it doesn't happen to everybody, it's not a problem. You can take it and apply it to other situations, and I guarantee you they're going to see a problem with it. Like, what comes to my mind is like domestic violence, like a woman or a man, whatever. But more prominently, I see like if a woman takes out a restraining order on a man and he violates, and then nothing happens until he breaks into her house and kills her, or vice versa.
Mhm.
And then it's like, people are going to say, how much is enough? Like,
Yeah.
it takes something for something extreme to happen for people to want change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by
Like,
that time, it's too late, right?
right. And
Mhm.
again, if people are being like actively racist or even just whatever, it's doing things where it's like, well, not everybody has had a racial problem yet, whatever. But it's like, again, it's going to be too late, and then change, like, to make change.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the very least for that person in that family.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Because you can take the easiest thing I could think of is if somebody, like, it could be a child, an adult, whatever, is being bullied because of their race, and nobody's doing anything to stop it. There could be complaints, there could be whatever. And then not until it gets taken too far
Mhm.
is all of a sudden it's going to be outroar.
Yeah. Yeah.
like, or uproar, outrage.
Yeah. No, all those apply.
Like,
No, all those apply, man, for sure.
yeah.
I
So
got
I hate that argument of, did you experience it? No, but it's there.
talk your shit. Just Jim with the 2000 says she's cool and don't give a F. What's up, y'all? Just Jim with the 2000 says I like her, not stuffy and putting on airs. Just saying. Like Mike with the 5000 that's the perfect hoodie for this topic. Much respect. This might be risky. Like Mike, salute. Just Jim with the 5000 says real talk. Is his family as pro-black as DJ Hamp? Do they make you feel any type of way when you take your children around? Answer this.
Do they make me feel any type of way, like being white, to bring my children around?
Yeah, I guess in his family.
No. I mean, I feel like when we get the kids together and like all the nieces and nephews, like they don't make me feel any different, or like that they definitely don't treat my kids any different because I'm white. Like they are like that's their family. Like I don't feel any different at all.
And how long y'all been going together?
I don't know. We were going together before we were really going together.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh yeah, motherfucker.
It's gotta be at least what 4 or 5 years now.
So you don't even like think? Do you even think about this type of stuff at all anymore? Really?
Like if his family treats
Like
me
if you go
differently?
to, like if you go to the house or whatever, they could like
No,
drop off the
it's
kids.
just routine. Yeah, like if I'm going over there to hang out, I'll go over there and hang out. Like
Yeah.
it's not really like something where I'm like walking on eggshells or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also because they don't treat me like I have to feel that way either.
Yeah.
So
Bravo Tech was popping. Bravo Tech with the 20 bucks. Shout out to Ashley for being a good sport.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Appreciate it. No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt. All right. So as this last thing,
yeah.
right? Because we always had this conversation, man. The conduct of black women is always put on full display about how they got the worst conduct, worst attitudes, worst everything. Like, just they don't get treated. They treat their men more poorly. Essentially.
Are you saying black women? Because you cut out for a second.
Oh yeah. That's the sentiment, right?
Okay.
The black woman's conduct is the absolute worst.
Mm-hmm.
So son had made a video one day. I played it up here a couple times.
A video of what?
He said, listen, man, this was a while ago, like maybe like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was like out all night or something. He's like, I ain't do shit. But I called her and say, what you want to eat from McDonald's? She said, just get me a burrito.
A burrito from McDonald's?
Yeah, I don't know. They used to have burritos, I think. He said, I don't care. Fuck y'all niggas. Right? Because of all the judgment or whatever he was getting, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, and this is a tough question, right? It's kind of purely speculation. Do you think that how you conduct yourself is different from the allegations?
What allegation? Wait, allegations of me?
Black women have this poor conduct, while like white women, Latino women abide by their men, don't be arguing with their men, don't be mad at their men, don't talk shit to their men, don't tell their men what to do, don't get an attitude with their men and all that. But do you do those things?
I sure do. It's situational.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the notion that black women treat their men terribly, like you said, or like argue or whatever, everybody does it. I feel like.
So you get that nigga the blues?
If it's warranted.
You be cussing them out?
Sometimes.
Jesus.
It depends. You know what? Being pregnant I
I'm
have
just
a lot
looking
less
for.
tolerance for things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I'm cussing him out for going out. He doesn't even go out too much like anymore. And honestly, if he's going out and it's been a while that he's gone out with his guys, he's talking about going to watch the game, whatever. I don't care because he works. He takes care of us. So like go have some fun, whatever.
You got his location? Keep it tall.
I don't.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I don't. But again, what am I gonna do? Like sit here and worry? Like
Yeah.
so
It
unless
is.
he gives me something to worry about, like it's more so like if I'm getting annoyed at something like he didn't take the trash out and it's been sitting here for a few days.
Oh,
Like I'm not like up his ass about stuff. But I mean maybe he feels otherwise. But I don't think like the concept of like nagging of like I think that's kind of early on relationship stuff where maybe there's like insecurities or something where it tends to lead to more nagging or like arguments and stuff. But again, I think everybody does it. I think it's unfair that people say that black women do it to black men and that other people don't.
So you think it's the conduct that gets the woman to act like that on her body?
The conduct of the man or the
Yeah.
woman?
Yeah.
I think it could be the man. I think if it gets brought out, like, I mean, and there could be some women who are very like confrontational and
You think
aggressive
majority and minority though of women are confrontational and aggressive?
of all color of women.
Yeah, say black and white women. That's the only women we really talking about, kind of.
I mean, I don't think everybody, it's all about maturity. I think maybe at some point everybody could be confrontational, but maturing and like not having the energy for that, I think it can get brought out of people.
Okay. So do you think the disposition, let's say a woman has a negative disposition, you think it's more likely that something was done to her or that was her natural disposition?
That's tough because it could be both. She could be that way because of something that has happened or the past or something, or she could just be negative.
What's your speculation of where is the side on what she's experienced, whether it be from that man or other men, or she was just made like that?
hmm I would lean probably towards like the experience, unless and this is goes both ways, unless she was raised in a home where that was prominent. Like for either white or black, if I was raised and my mom was always like aggressive and confrontational and stuff like towards my dad or whatever, I'm sure I might grow up and take on those same like traits or whatever and like become that way without anything personally happening to me. But if that's like how I
Okay. So
grew up,
you looking at nurture
yeah.
in terms of disposition. Do you think that do you think that women that come out of like a two-parent household, their father's there, do you think that their disposition is different?
Um, it could. Again, it's hard because I'm also looking at the fact like if they had a two-parent household, it could have been, you know, the loving household without that, or it could be like present and then
Sure.
have like a one-person household, whether it's just the mom or just the dad. I feel like if there wasn't someone else in that household, then how could they really be exposed to that kind of
Yeah. So let's say in a
situation?
hypothetical situation, right? That household that we're speaking about is let's say it's sound, it's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she's less inclined to be maybe let's say talking down to men, talking at men, treating them in a particular way? Or do you think that the construct of that household allows her to behavior to be more less unbecoming, I guess?
I think if it was like a healthy household, then she'd be less likely to have that disposition
Mm.
again, unless that's something that was
Yeah.
created from like her own partner experience or significant other experience.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like
It's just
disrespect
speculative.
is learned from somewhere. Like I don't think
Mm,
people just naturally are disrespectful or aggressive in nature. Like you have to see it or experience it somehow.
got you. So I guess the reason why I'm asking that question, right, is essentially because when we look at a lot of like black households,
Mhm,
um, the fathers aren't always present, you know. I'm just
mhm,
looking at the particular dynamics. So to your point, like let's say it is nurture, I'm just looking at the likelihood of being nurtured by only one parent because
mhm.
of the constructs. What's the yield there? Could a more poor disposition come out of it? And again, to your point, it's all speculative, right? You can't make an
Right.
absolution, but we're just looking at things that affect particular communities, and then what are the outcomes? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it was just like it could go again either way, like to play devil's advocate. If it's just one, like, and you're in a nurturing home with your one parent, you're not exposed to that. So it wouldn't come across that way. But then again, if you have your one parent, and again, you might not have ever seen that parent have a significant other to be in that aggressive or non aggressive like relationship with, it could also be like how they're talking about it, the others as a whole. Like if there's a single mom or a single dad, and yeah, like as a kid, you don't see them being with someone for it to have an example of like an unhealthy versus healthy relationship, but they're always talking down on the other sex, like then you're gonna have that thought too.
So you think the mom, based on the daughter's disposition, is probably the bigger component?
It could be. Like if it was a single mom
But Ash, what you
and
think though?
always
Let's say
talking
you
about
let's say you had to make a hypothetical, like you had to speculate, right? Because yeah, I agree it could be, right? I think could some those always apply.
right.
So do you think that the daughter is most affected by how the mom carries her health self?
I think that is a big, yeah, I think that could play a big role
You said
because
could ask. I'm not my brother. I'm smarter than a nigga. You think what do you think? Do you think that in terms of a daughter, right?
mhm.
You got a daughter. What's the baby?
She what age?
No, that the one right there.
Oh, it's a boy.
Damn, fucking get two boys.
You jelly?
Yeah. So, what do you think is the biggest effect on the little girl in the house? You know,
Mhm.
the little the mom in terms of what her disposition is.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
Hmm.
The
Okay.
same way that I think like the boy, it would be like more kind of like tied to the dad.
Yeah, I could see that because I think what happens with the father is we do a lot of enforcement of the rules that are often put on by the mom a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's things that the father is not going to negotiate. You know what I mean? Like this is this is that, but there's a whole lot of nuance in between that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's like little girls, you almost have to defer because it'll even be like body things.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to be like, okay, let me listen more because I don't have one of those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mhm.
And like so, like Big Chug is potty training.
Mhm.
She's like, but it's easier if he sit down. You don't sit nothing. You know what I mean? So we got a
Yeah.
little fake urinal that's on the wall. He
Really?
pee on everything but the urinal, but at least he's standing up.
Wait, where you get that just from the store?
Yeah, it came from Amazon.
Because
Ah,
we need to get one too because um Junior is potty training too, and he sits on his little potty or sits on our toilet. But there's been a few times where we've been out and about, like outside, and he has to go, and I try to get him to stand, and he just doesn't get that concept yet. We try with the toilet to get him to stand, but it's just like he just is so used to like sitting at the toilet.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
would love to get a urinal for him because
yeah. He
to learn.
definitely here.
We
Yeah,
just talked about this last week because we were out on a walk like on a trail, and he had to pee, and I was trying to get him against the tree, against rocks, whatever, and he wouldn't do it. So we just talked about needing to get him to stand more.
Where is your man's at? He got some explaining to do.
He just started potty training and he's doing good, but we need to get him standing up more.
Yes, ASAP.
Yeah.
Because I know one. Yeah, it looked like if you shine a blue light in the kid's bathroom, it'll look like a crime scene.
Yeah.
Because he be on everything but at least he's standing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get on that wave because we need to get him standing up. Yeah. And like, especially going out in public, like I don't want to have to sit him on a toilet.
Yeah, no.
Like I'll either try and hold him up in the air or I just put a whole bunch of toilet paper and waste half a roll to line the toilet. But it would be so much easier if he would just stand.
Yeah, that's a fact though. Damn, man. Well, Ash, listen, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop. I don't know. You don't want to stay up here for the link. See if anybody actually come up, so we can really dig into this topic because I kind of disagree with the being able to sleep white and talk black, just because those constructs are so important, right? Yeah. I think you can love your people, of course. You can do for your people, but pro meaning for, and then your children, your resources. Those are the things that people fight and die for every day.
Right.
And so you can definitely make contributions, but to say that you pro-black when those most important things aren't in the construct, it just doesn't seem to qualify.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I can see that standpoint too, yeah.
Yeah. So damn, man, let me drop this link, man. Shit. Hey, I appreciate you. Tell that motherfucker to call. Matter of fact, tell him to hit the link when he get back.
I will.
Kool-Aid is diabolical. The smoke detector is nasty work.
You can hear it beeping.
Everybody, the whole chat, 350 people hear the shit beeping.
Yeah, we need to get new batteries for that, huh? I got used to it. Is that bad?
That's right. No, that happens a lot, you know. But you know, it's YouTube, so everybody, we all got our drawers on the outside of our pants because we superheroes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, hey, Ash, salute, man. I'm gonna tell his $5 ass hit the link when he get back. You heard?
I will.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right.
Salute.
Bye.
You did a good job, man. Salute. Let me read these real quick. Like Mike.